Good evening, and welcome to this edition of Labor Vision. I'm Bob Delaney, Executive Director of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Labor Vision, a production of the Institute, focuses on topics of importance and interest to working Rhode Islanders. We hope you enjoy this evening's edition.
Our next award recognizes the leadership of a certain individual, a special individual, who will be the recipient of the Paul E. Mora Award, Councilman Sabina Matos. Presenting the award are our good friends Marty Rosenberg and Paul Mora.
Thank you. When Carolina asked me to speak tonight to introduce the Paul Mora Award, I was thrilled. When I first began as a community organizer 25 years ago, it's hard to believe, Paul was a state representative. I quickly learned that he was someone to show me the ropes, to help me out in a pinch, and most importantly, to be a strong, clear voice for working people and for progressive issues, and he was fabulous at the State House. Paul was a key participant in the beginning of Leadership for a Future, and he was in the first class with other tremendous leaders like George Nee and Patrick Quinn and Carolina Bernal. In fact, can the first class of Leadership for a Future stand up? How many people here were in that first class? And how many have ever been in Leadership for a Future? If you've ever been in Leadership for a Future, stand up. So I think that the Institute made a fabulous choice in awarding the Paul Mora Leadership Award this year. Sabina Matos is a fighter too. When she realized that her Providence ward was being represented by someone who wasn't maybe paying enough attention to the problems and challenges of everyone in the ward and wasn't always agreeable to some issues that would come up, Sabina got angry, but she didn't just get angry. She got active. She ran for the city council seat in 2006, and she came very close. But most importantly, when she lost that race, she kept fighting. She showed up at meetings. She became even more of a presence in the community. And then in 2010, she worked as hard as anyone else has, and she pulled together a tremendously organized campaign, and she won with a 54-46 margin. I actually am the luckiest person here because during the day, Sabina is the Associate Director of New Roots Providence, where I work as the director, and I get to work with her every single day. I see her as she works with grassroots nonprofits, building their capacity and their ability to help their members, our neighbors, their clients live better lives. When I asked Sabina about her time in Leadership for a Future, she said that it was a critical experience for her and helped build her leadership like nothing else ever had in Rhode Island. Well, Leadership for a Future's investment in Sabina has paid off big for Rhode Island's nonprofit community, for the people of Ward 15, the residents of Providence, and all of us in Rhode Island. I'm happy to introduce you to Paul Mora, who will present the award to Sabina.
Thank you, Marty. You want us for the picture here? Where's he going? Okay. Congratulations, Sabina. I give the mic to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to receive this award and to have Maddie being the one here doing the introduction is an icing in the on the cake. I'm lucky that I get to work with her every day, and so thank you, Maddie. And she asked me some question about my experience, and I have no idea what she was planning on doing with it. But I really enjoyed the time at Leadership for the Future, and especially like the way how we build a network of people that I have no idea about them before. I learned about leadership in different ways, different kind of leadership. It's not that what I was expecting leadership was going to be. We have young people that were tremendous leaders throughout the leadership training that we had. But after that, when they opened their mouth, what they said it was amazing. It was an amazing experience that stuck in my head and told me every day that I have to do better for my community. I have to contribute. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to bring up Bob. Are you here, Bob Delaney? There you are, Bob. Bob is going to talk about a special relationship that we have at the Institute with UA Local 51, and a special award for Tommy Hanfield and the great work that he's done in coordination with the Institute. Tommy, come up too.
I wanted to take a minute in the middle of the evening to recognize some of the growth that happened at the Institute, but in particular the relationship that the Institute has with a number of the areas of organized labor. When I came to the Institute, I had conversations with George and the board members and Frank Montanaro and said, I really believe that we need to provide the opportunity for members of organized labor to be able to blend the skills and aptitudes and training that they have and be able to match those to college credit and see how many college graduates we can bring through the Institute. Last year, I stood here and said to you that I was very proud to announce that UA Local 51 became a piece of that project, actually the very beginning of the project. And I have to recognize tonight the efforts of all of the instructors at 51, of Tommy Hanfield and Fred Forey, of Tim Byrne, and a whole variety of other people at UA Local 51. Individuals who have committed to making sure that not only are they as union leaders, they as instructors, they as administrators, and they as journeymen and apprentices enrolled in a program, but they have committed their facility and their time to making sure that we can grow the next leg of the Institute. For a moment, I want to recognize that group of people because in September of 2009, we started with one class at UA Local 51 with 21 students. In this past year, we have had 176 individuals sitting in seats taking college courses and getting college credit this year. We really have come full circle because the goal was to be able to say to you that we can bring somebody into the Institute and start ESL, award their GED, move them toward college courses, get an associate's degree, and leave with a bachelor's degree. And we are now going to be able to see that dream come to a reality probably by January at the very latest when our first graduates graduate from the National Labor College from UA Local 51. This year, I'm very proud to tell you that we have another partnership. With SEIU 1199, we have 22 people who have now started their second class in the allied health profession. And thank you to Patrick Quinn and the support of 1199. This year, we have another group of individuals who will be moving through courses online through CCRI at the National Labor College and others through Penn Foster College. This year, we have established 6 college partnerships. We have finished 100 or more than 170 individuals in college training, and we hope in September of next year to enroll over 240 students beginning of the year with our first graduate having completed a degree prior to that time. And one step further, we now have college interns at the Institute for Labor Studies from both Roger Williams Law School, but most in particular this year from the National Labor College, a student who will be receiving a scholarship to the National Labor College. I wanted to recognize both UA Local 51 and SEIU 1199, and thank you for your participation because you are indeed the seeds to a movement that will grow and ensure that you and your family members and the family members of everybody in organized labor gets the opportunity to have that degree and attach it to very practical applied training like apprenticeship training. Thank you very much.
But our next award recognizes the strong foundation built over more than 20 years by Bob's predecessor, Chuck Schwartz. As executive director, Chuck was an icon in the labor movement. His ever-present camera recorded the history of labor in Rhode Island and elsewhere during the 80s and 90s and into the 21st century. As a labor educator and member of the University Association of Labor Educators, he believed that the future of the labor movement relied on the education of the next generation to understand and appreciate the sacrifices made by past labor activists and to accept and promote the values that underline the labor movement. To this end, the Institute established a memorial scholarship in his memory. Each year, a student or students in a recognized and accredited program of labor-related studies is awarded a $1,000 grant to their continued studies. Here to present this year's scholarship awards is a woman who continues her strong support of the Institute and its work, Mrs. Chuck Schwartz, Diane Dolphin.
Everybody, I'm delighted to be here. It's personally just so fulfilling for me to hear of all the good things that the Institute continues to do. I know that you all do Chuck proud, and I'm very proud to be a part of the Institute. So anyways, thanks, Jim, for those kind words. As many of you know, Chuck took his role as labor educator very, very seriously. He believed that the education was power, power to change our own lives, power to change communities, our communities, power to change society for the better. So it's especially gratifying to see the Institute carry on Chuck's legacy in this way, and I'm again delighted to be part of it. We'll be giving out 2 awards tonight. It's my pleasure to present the first scholarship to Mary Barden. Mary is the local president of the North Kingstown NEA, and as an educator and a labor leader, she personifies the best of what Chuck sought to accomplish through his work at the Institute. Mary is pursuing studies at the University of Rhode Island's Charles T. Schmidt Jr. Labor Research Center, and she was nominated for this award by the center's director, Rick Scholl. So Mary, if you would come up.
I'd just like to thank the Institute and Professor Scholl and the faculty at the university. I've learned a great deal in my studies so far, and I look forward to learning even more as I finish my degree. So thank you very much for this honor. Thank you.
And the second scholarship award is going this year to Jill Osenkowski. Jill's career goal is to become a union organizer. Again, she would do Chuck proud. She's currently enrolled at the National Labor College through the Edward McElroy Satellite Campus at the campus at the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. And she's also serving an internship at the Institute. Jill personifies what Chuck would embrace as the future of organized labor. So congratulations, Jill, and come on up.
I just want to take this opportunity to, first of all, thank the Institute, Bob and Roger, for providing me with the opportunity to receive this award and furthering my education through the National Labor College. And also, obviously, very special thanks to Diane Dolphin. Thank you.
Our next speaker needs no introduction. As a lifelong friend and supporter of organized labor, who has always respected and shared our values, he has received our support in return. As lieutenant governor and the candidate for governor who missed by the narrowest of margins, there was never any doubt that his respect for working people and those who respect them would be a hallmark of his administration. I can't help but think that all the working people that would be better off today in Rhode Island if the election results of 2006 had been different. Nevertheless, as we fast forward to today, we are most fortunate to have in the current administration a man who is in a position to fairly and positively affect the lives of working people in our state, as well as those who are unfortunately unemployed. Ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, please welcome our keynote speaker, the director of the Rhode Island Department of Labor, Charlie Fogarty.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here with you today for the 31st annual dinner of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. And Jim, I just want you to know that I still carry my retirement card from Local 328. And in my previous job before this, I had the pleasure of representing Local 328 as well as Local 51 with the May 4th group. So continuing in a different capacity here. This morning, I had the opportunity, along with George Nee and many others, to go to the annual meeting of the Governor's Workforce Board. So I'm started out the morning talking about workforce issues, training and education, and it's appropriate that I'm ending up the night here talking to a critical partner in that effort on the same vein. And I think all of us understand, the governor understands, that the key to Rhode Island's success is the workforce in Rhode Island. That business climate and taxes are, of course, important to some extent, but if you don't have well-trained and well-skilled workers, all of those other things really aren't going to make up the difference. And it's no secret today, unfortunately, that Rhode Island's economy is not in the best of shape. Tomorrow, I will be reporting. I can't give you the numbers at this point. I'll be shot. But tomorrow, our unemployment rate has gone down a little bit more. Almost a point in the last year, the lowest level in almost 2 years, but still unacceptably high. And for many people, the recovery is still far in the distance. And I know that's true for many of the members of our locals, particularly in the building trades. So while we can take satisfaction in moving in the right direction, we know there's a long, long way to go. When we talk about workforce, though, it's kind of this nebulous term, this kind of massive group. It's all of Rhode Islanders. But when we look at it from our point of view, it's individual people, all of whom want to do the best for their state, for their family, and for their careers. They're not asking for a handout. They're asking for some help. They're asking for a fair opportunity to ply their trade, to do their job, and to make a living. That's not a lot to ask. And we also know, too, that this goal can't be achieved by one group acting independently. My boss, the governor, has talked about collaboration as an essential element in getting Rhode Island back on track. And I know that's something that the labor community believes in very strongly, because that's really part of who you are and what you do, is collaborating, coming together as a group, making a difference. Yes, individuals matter, but collectively, the impact is even more important. So in our department, we want to continue to reach out and collaborate with labor on issues of importance in terms of training, to make sure that our workforce is the most flexible and skilled in the country, to really power Rhode Island's economic growth into the future. And that's, I think, a different approach than perhaps what we've had over the last 8 years. One of the first things we did was have discussions with George Nee and some of the folks from the AFL-CIO to talk about what can we do to help workers who maybe suddenly find themselves out of a job. In the past, there was the Displaced Workers Program through the AFL-CIO, which was ended somewhat abruptly. And we felt there was a need for a program like that. So we've partnered again with the AFL-CIO, and I'm proud to say, provided a grant that will allow that organization to work with us to deal with people who may suddenly find themselves without a job. I would like to say that we will never use that grant. Unfortunately, this week we had the first opportunity to do that at Westerly Hospital, and it worked out well. Because when people are in a tough situation, it's important for them to know where they can turn to, what resources they can depend upon, and where they can go to get their lives back on track. There's nothing more important than that. And you know, I've heard often as I go out around the state, the discussion, well, yes, we know the unemployment's high, but there's a lot of people who are simply sitting back collecting unemployment insurance, eating bonbons and watching Oprah on TV until she goes off the air later this month. But that really isn't the case. Right now we have 63,000 people who want to work and are looking for a job. I see them every day. They come into our office. I saw them last week at the Providence Cranston WIB with the job fair, and the week before that at the Crown Plaza, where the line to get into the job fair was over a quarter-mile long. People wanting to get back into the workplace. And even if every single job in our state, which is currently available now, was filled, and that's about 17,000 full and part-time jobs, we'd still have more than 45,000 people that wanted to work and just didn't have the opportunity. And part of the problem is the fact that there's a gap in the skills and training that they have with the jobs that are out there and likely to come in the future. You understand that with the programs that you all have developed, some of which were talked about tonight, apprenticeship programs. We've got to make that more of a priority as a state to close that skill gaps so that when employers start hiring again, and they're starting to do that, people are ready and available to go to work. I also have the opportunity to meet with employers on a regular basis, and there are a number who want to employ people and who have a significant number of good-paying jobs. But what they're telling me is that the skilled workforce that they need is not there. That's something we have to work on in a much more coordinated fashion, with education, with nonprofits, with the unions, with the businesses, and we're trying to do that in the Governor's Workforce Board. Target those dollars we have to make a difference in the lives of those individuals who then help change the state of Rhode Island. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not numbers. You know, we'll be talking numbers tomorrow. How many are unemployed, how many jobs we created, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, policymakers have to look at the numbers, but ultimately we can never forget that those of us in public service, it's people, individual people that count. And part of our job has got to be making sure everybody in that workforce gets a CPA. And what do I mean by that? Not more accountants. We've got to build confidence. We've got to see progress that leads to achievement. And sometimes that's tough when people have been out of work for a while. They lack that confidence. They don't see progress in their lives. And they can't point to any achievement, and they get frustrated. But with these programs and partnerships, we can turn that around. I've seen it in things like Youth Build. I've seen it at the Warwick Career and Technical Academy with our young people. I've seen it in the IT boot camp that was a partnership with the Tech Collaborative. It can be done, and we need to do more of it. I'm very optimistic about the future of our state because I look out at this audience and I see people who are committed and have been committed for many, many years to bringing out the best in our state and making Rhode Island a state of opportunity and hope for all its citizens, and to make our economy thrive and flourish again. It's a big challenge for all of us. We didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to get to where we need to be in a matter of a few months or even a year. But we can't give up because our state is worth it. The people that you work with, your members, are worth it. And most importantly, our kids' future is worth it. So I want to just again thank you for the job that you've done and continue to do, pledge the support and cooperation of not only the Department of Labor and Training, but the entire Chafee administration. Because our governor has involved us very closely with economic development, with higher education, elementary, secondary, recognizing it's not these individual departments that are going to do the job. It's collectively what we can do as an administration, as a state, looking at labor, looking at business, looking at the nonprofits to really make our state one of success and opportunity for everyone. So once again, to the award winners, congratulations. I appreciate this opportunity to be with you tonight and look forward to continuing those collaborative efforts that we've started this year and that we're going to continue through this administration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. Always a pleasure to hear from you. We love the Fogartys in Rhode Island. The last part of our program, we're moving right along here, recognize those individuals whose service and commitment to others has placed them among an elite group of Rhode Islanders recognized by the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. Eagle Awards and Special Community Service Awards are given periodically by the Institute to recognize these leaders. Each award this evening is accompanied by a proclamation from United States Senator Jack Reed, United States Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Congressman Jim Langevin, Congressman David Cicilline, Secretary of State Ralph Malus, and the hardest working elected official that I know, Senator Dominic Ruggerio. Saying all the right things, Armin. The first Eagle Award will be presented to Charlene Christie, immediate past president, who brought her fan club today. Immediate past president of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance, presenting the award are Dr. Colleen Callahan of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers and Health Professionals, and Ron Beaupre, president of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to tell you that I'm the president of that fan club, but Charlene, I think there'd be a lot of people vying for that honor. It's my pleasure to speak to you a little bit tonight about Charlene Christie, who is so deserving of this award and dear friend to so many of us in the room, especially to me, Charlene. I put these glasses on. I want to let you know that Charlene is just tremendously deserving of this award, and there are so many reasons for that. She's been a passionate, tireless union leader for, and I think I can share this with them, Charlene, about 4 decades. Charlene has had a very long tenure. She started as a grievance chair, as I'll bet a number of people in this room have. She served as vice president, and finally as the president of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance. In addition to the union service and her long history as a union leader, she also has been a leader in her profession. She served as the guidance department chair at Tolman High School in Pawtucket, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of students who benefited from her real caring and her professional judgment and guidance. At the same time, she served as that same kind of mentor for her colleagues. And whether she was the vice president or the president, she advocated for their professional growth in mentoring and induction programs, professional development, and lately, the establishment of high-quality evaluation systems. And while doing all of that, she has not let the demands, and believe me, there have been many demands, of that leadership role get in the way of the strong family and personal relationships that I know are very, very important to her. You know, Jim mentioned the fan club, and I think that's testament to the fact that there are so many family members, friends, and colleagues here because they love you, Charlene, as do I. You know, Charlene recently retired as the president of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance after just 1 term at the helm. And you know, that's something that some people might say is kind of unusual, especially for someone who we thought was kind of in training for that position for just a few years. But you know, when she stepped into that position, she had a plan. And that plan really evidenced her commitment to something that I think is really emblematic of the award that she's receiving tonight, and that is building the next generation of union leaders in Pawtucket. She's long been committed to identifying the best, so those of you who are new to leadership in Pawtucket, congratulations. In some, we might say she's developed the bench for the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance. But she knew that when she was going to help develop this next generation of union leaders and to make sure that they were ready to carry on the strong legacy that the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance leaders have developed, that she needed some help in doing so before she could comfortably step aside. And so I think, again, very fitting that she's standing here receiving an award, or about to stand here to receive an award from the Institute for Labor Studies and Research, because as she's recognized how important professional development is, not just to her professional colleagues, but to her union colleagues, she also knew that she needed some help in planning her exit strategy. And she looked to the Institute for Labor Studies and Research to help her do that. I'm guessing that these folks could tell you about the number of courses she signed them up for, whether it was steward training or treasurer's workshops, or I see my colleague Jim Parisi in the audience, the lobbying training that many of us have had some fun with. She recognized the role that the Institute could play in developing that next generation of leadership. And so she chose very well in her partners like the Institute, like I hope the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers and Health Professionals. She chose well in identifying the right people who could follow her lead. She understood that they needed training and support to take on the kind of role that she was taking on and leaving all too soon in Pawtucket. And that in addition to the training, they would find the kind of relationships in our union family that many of us have enjoyed over the years. And so the Institute helped Charlene play a very important role in developing that next level of leadership. Charlene has a great legacy to pass on to those folks, a legacy that was passed on to her by Marianne Caveney, and something that she recognized was time to pass on to the young people and not so young people who are taking over the reins in Pawtucket. And so she feels quite confident, I know, that she's left the leadership of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance in very good hands. But as she steps aside, I think it's very important for us to recognize that while she knows that leadership may be born, but really is developed, they are developed because wise and strong leaders like Charlene Christie understand that part of their job is to make sure that the leaders who come after them can carry on the hard work that they have started and probably, and in fact certainly, carried on from the leaders who went before them. And so again, Charlene, it is quite fitting that we honor you tonight, that we share with you the love and respect we have for you. And we congratulate you, I congratulate you on behalf of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers and Health Professionals, my colleagues, the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance, and all of our brothers and sisters, and we wish you well. But I also want to show you that I'm not just blowing smoke at you. I'm about to introduce to you part of that next generation of leadership to present this award to Charlene, Ron Beaupre, the new president of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to stand before you tonight as a new president in the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance. The history of Pawtucket Teachers Alliance has shown us that presidents are long-standing. The leaders in the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance have been leaders in the organization for a long time, and I hope to continue that legacy. But anybody that knows Charlene knows that Charlene's not done. Charlene's work in the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance will never be over. There's many a night that I get a phone call that Charlene says, "Ron, what's going on? What can I do to help you?" And I truly appreciate that guidance and support, because without it, Pawtucket would slow. We're not ready to slow down. We're ready to move faster. And we're going to continue to move faster with Charlene's guidance and help and our new leadership. So Charlene, on behalf of the Pawtucket Teachers Alliance, both retired and current members, it is my pleasure to present to you our President Emeritus, Charlene Christie, the Eagle Award.
Thank you very much. I am truly very honored to receive this very wonderful award this night from the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. The Institute has a very warm place in my heart. I believe so strongly in the work that it does. We certainly have been enriched this evening by many of the programs and many of the work of the Institute this evening. My one wish is that it continues its good work for many years, that if I can support it in any way, personally or professionally, I certainly would be there for them. And I certainly am humbled as a recipient of this award tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Colleen and Ron, and special thanks to Charlene. Our next Eagle Award will be presented to Tommy Hanfield, Business Manager of UA Local 51. Presenting the award will be Scott Duhamel, oh boy, of the Painters Union, and Frank Ferry from Local 51.
Thank you, Jim. See, I know Tommy, but I didn't know his history, and since the Institute, hard to believe, couldn't provide me with the information. He's a 22-year member of UA Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and Refrigerator Local 51. He served as an e-board officer, the vice president, the president. He was elected in 2008 as the business manager, and he's currently serving his second term. Obviously, tonight he's being honored for the continuing education and the re-education of his members. He's really made a commitment. I asked for the stats and the numbers, but Plumbers Institute, no one gave me anything, so we'll make that up too. Tommy became business manager for Local 51 after a very contentious election, and quite frankly inherited a tough and extremely daunting situation. The truth is, among the weird, wonderful, and consistently dysfunctional but continually effective world of the building tradesman, he was tagged with an immediate nickname reflective of his difficult situation, Tommy Handsful, and his hands were full. He's done a wonderful job straightening out Local 51. He's distinguished himself by being a gentleman, an eager collaborator, and whose words and actions are his bond, and a labor leader who actually comprehends the concept of solidarity. Believe that or not. If I had to guess, I don't think that any time during his career as a plumber or a fitter, these guys get all crazy if you say the wrong category. I don't think Tommy, and I really believe this, I don't ever think he displayed the infamous crack, and we know what we're talking about when it comes to plumbers and fitters. And I think you should be proud of that. Even more surprisingly, Tommy's distinguishing characteristics as a leader fall into these unusual categories. He's thoughtful, he's easygoing, he's pleasant, he's remarkably non-aggressive, and amazingly unstrident, which constitutes the makeup of a genuinely nice guy. I pose you this question: what the hell is he doing as a building trades guy? Let me firmly and sincerely congratulate Tom Hanfield and call both him and Local 51's chief organizer and Tom's unofficial lieutenant, Fred Forey, up to the podium for the actual award. Thank you.
Good evening. I spoke to Jim. He said, keep it really short. Red Sox are 1-1 and the Bruins are playing. So right now, it's an honor to present this Eagle Award to Tom Hanfield, Business Manager of Local 51.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I must say it's an honor. I'm humbled and honored and at the same time excited to be here to receive this Eagle Award. As I do so, I would like to thank Bob Delaney and the Institute for Labor Studies and Research. I was approached by Bob Delaney approximately 2 years ago with a unique opportunity for our members to further their education. Through the Institute for Labor Studies and Research and the National Labor College, we have the ability to offer college-credited courses at our Union Hall. Combining highly skilled craftsmen and women with a college degree in construction management only increases our ability to become more marketable. Again, I'd like to thank Bob Delaney and the Institute for Labor Studies for this award. Thank you.
Our last Eagle Award will be presented to fellow ILSR longtime board member Don Iannazzi, Business Manager of Laborers International Union North America, Local 1033. Presenting the award is a man whose stature as a labor leader is known by the members of the Laborers International Union of North America and others well beyond the boundaries of Rhode Island, Armand Sabatoni.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. George Nee, our president, Bob Delaney, if I am ever so lucky and fortunate to receive an honor from the Institute, well, I want Scotty to introduce me. Nice job. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all of the recipients tonight and the valedictorians, the classmates, the graduates. A job well done. I want to congratulate also you, Bob, George, for all your hard work here with the Institute. It's a proud night for the labor movement. Think about it, 31 years of excellence by the Institute in teaching education, the Union Way, all about what we do each and every day with leadership qualities, with compassion. Let's hear it all for the staff and for all of you that have supported the Institute for all of these years. Now, brothers and sisters, I have the distinct honor to introduce the award recipient from the Laborers International Union of North America tonight, our own Donald Iannazzi. Let's hear it for Donald. A union brother whom I've had the utmost respect and admiration for many years. His dedication to his family, his wife Anne-Marie, his daughter Andrea, his son Stephen, his family, his country, and our union set an example for all of us here tonight. For over 30 years, I've had the pleasure of working with Donald. We have been together in negotiations, on picket lines, organizing campaigns, and political races. And whenever there's a difficult decision to be made on all these issues, you can't find a finer mind than Donald Iannazzi. His insight and his guidance on all issues are always on point. Many of you in this room only know Donald as a respected labor leader, but Donald has worn many hats and uniforms throughout his entire career. Donald is regarded as one of the finest labor attorneys, not only providing counsel to the laborers' affiliates, but he is sought after by groups throughout the nation for his expertise. While working as a labor leader and attorney, Donald also served our country as a member of the United States Army and the United States Army Reserve, recently retiring after a 20-year career with the rank of colonel. During those 20 years, let's hear it. During those 20 years, Donald answered the nation's calls many times, leaving behind his family and his career, having served in Panama, Iraq, Bosnia. Donald is definitely a true patriot. It is also fitting that Donald is being honored by the Institute for Labor Studies, for he's a strong advocate for the training and education of his members of Local 1033. At Local Union 1033, he instituted the first public employee training program in the Laborers International Union so that our members may be able to utilize their best potential. On a national level, Donald was the original member of LIUNA's Public Employee Department Steering Committee, which was instrumental in the creation of LIUNA's Public Employee Department Academy. Donald was a moving force in the development of the curriculum of that academy. Anyone who has attended the academy will tell you the most challenging and sought-after courses are those taught by Donald. The Eagle Award that Donald is receiving tonight bears an inscription that reads, "Building a better life for all workers and their families." There could not be a more appropriate phrase to describe what Donald believes and does each and every day of his life. Donald works every day to improve the well-being of our members, and in doing so, improves conditions for all working men and women. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce a true laborer and a great labor leader, my friend and my brother, Donald Iannazzi.
Thank you. Thank you to our leader, my friend, and my brother, Armin Sabatoni. And let me especially recognize all of those who participated and completed successfully all of the programs of the Institute for Labor Studies in the year 2011. And let me say this classical light, who maybe graduated 1 or 2 years before that classical light graduates next year, is particularly proud of our valedictorian from the Leadership for Our Future program. Thank you. Armin recognized the people who have empowered me to attempt to contribute to all that I try to do every day, my wife, my daughter, and my son. May I please ask my brothers and sisters from Local Union 1033 and the Laborers International Union of North America to stand. That is my family as well. My affiliation with the Institute commenced just about 31 years ago, when I went crying to my elder sister in the labor movement because the Providence School Department was defunding adult basic education. And I went to see Marsha and I said, help, because we had a new society in Providence, a new class of immigrants to our city who had so much to contribute, and they were folks from Southeast Asia. And we had begun a new program with Dr. Ritchie, who was then the superintendent of schools, where we were able to take advantage of adult basic education in Providence and provide new opportunities for people entering the workforce. Unfortunately, that program was short-lived. And the person hearing me complaining to Marsha was perhaps the greatest educator of all in the state of Rhode Island, who had moved on to the AFL-CIO, and his name was Ed McElroy. And he said, come by the office tomorrow, I'm going to give you a resource, and we'll meet that challenge. And I went over to the AFL-CIO's office the next day, and I was given all of the assistance in the world from a very young Rick Brooks and Jackie Kelly, and we began adult basic education in the public workforce through the Institute, a program that has gone on and succeeded day in and day out. The Institute is there to meet today's challenges and to provide the solutions for tomorrow. I accept this award as a proud public employee and everything that means. I joined my union and the workforce of my city as a very proud laborer in 1972. And I was given all of those important tasks to make sure that the city of Providence functioned and made it from today to tomorrow. I was told, kids, sweep over there, shovel over there, empty that, and I proudly did it. I left the employment of my city in 1977 to go on to a new endeavor as a public employee. I became Grunt Ionazi on Smoke Bomb Hill at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And I waved at Captain Jack Reed as he was leaving and I was coming in. And brother, I wish it was only 20 years, but some of these gray hairs come because I wore that uniform for 31 years. And I'm proud of that service. But I'm particularly proud of all that we've accomplished at Local Union 1033. And I'm particularly proud about the challenges that are presented to us today and the solutions that are available to us tomorrow in the most difficult times. Because I think that's what the Institute has taught us all, to face the challenges of today and to develop and implement the solutions of tomorrow. So if I may, I would like to just close by sharing with you the last 24 hours. Yesterday, culminating at about 10:30 last evening, and to the consternation of Rhode Island's Immoral Compass, located directly across the street, the over 4,000 members of Local Union 1033 selected me to continue in my leadership position with my leadership team at Local Union 1033. I began this morning at 7:30 this morning with my friend who decided to become a congressman from the 1st District as we had breakfast and traveled over to a great rebirth of a Rhode Island organization, OIC of Rhode Island. And I said, David, let me begin by thanking you for taking my family name off the front page of the rag and putting yours. He didn't appreciate that. But our relationship has always been one that was built upon bluntness and candor. This afternoon, the City of Providence, through Mayor Tavares, notified 3 subcontracting vendors that the city would be terminating their services effective June 30th, 2011, and that those services would be returned to where they rightfully belong, the public employees represented by Public Employees Local Union 1033. Public employees do it right. Public employees do it proudly. Public employees are the silent professionals that make government work. I am a proud public employee. Thank you.
We're proud to have you. Don Ionazi. Thank you, Armin. And Don, our last presentation is a Special Community Service Award being presented to Mario Bueno, Executive Director of Progreso Latino. And if any of you have United Way accounts, you can transfer some of those monies like I do to Progreso Latino every year. And presenting the award will be George Nee, President of the AFL-CIO and Board Chairman of the Institute, and Carolina Burnell, Institute's Community Outreach Director.
It is indeed an honor to present the Community Service Award to Mario Bueno. He is a long-standing leader in our community in developing and running literacy programs, ESL programs, GED programs, and runs some of the finest programs in the country. And he is now, after many, many years, and a few times when he might have been overlooked, unfortunately, by those folks, is now the new executive director of Progreso Latino. But just recently, as you remember, when they fired the Central Falls teachers, it became clear that there had not been the strongest connection between the teachers in Central Falls and the community, and it was being exploited by people and trying to cause divisions between people. And the first person that I called to try to mend that and put that together and develop a relationship was Mario Bueno. And he put together a group of the community leaders and the parents to sit down with the teachers to make sure that they could work together. And I think that was very instrumental in the relationships there and the support that the teachers began to get from the parents and from the students. So Mario, on behalf of the Institute for Labor Studies and Research, for all your work and your continued work, a well-deserved award, and thank you for everything you've done for people in our community. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. I know many people here in this room. We've worked for many years on different campaigns, like Paul on the contingent worker issues. And I owe a lot to many people here in the room, to George, to Carolina, and many leaders who have given me a lot of wisdom. It's really tough working in the community and trying to make change. And it hasn't gotten easier, as you all know, with these economic times. But this gives me courage to move on. And I encourage everyone here to continue being leaders and to helping the next generation of leaders. I'm very encouraged by Leadership for the Future and all the young people that are here and that are working for a better future. And many of us wear different hats. Some father, grandfather, union member, community member, but we're all the same. We all bleed, we all die. And we have to remember that sometimes, and that's part of building collaborations. Forgetting the hat that we're wearing and looking at what we need for tomorrow. And that's very difficult in these times where we have so many polarities. But I'm willing to continue working, and I appreciate your support. And I want to thank my family, because without them, I wouldn't be here and I couldn't continue doing my work. So thank you.
Well, the clock on the wall says 8:30. We did it again this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us for this evening's edition of Labor Vision. We appreciate your input and encourage your comments. Labor Vision can be seen 3 times each week here on Channel 14. Join us on Tuesdays at 7 p.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m., and Saturdays at 5 p.m.